business has a lot of ups and downs. When it was COVID just first hit, I thought it was going to be the death of me. I was down and out. I was sitting there with my mentor trying to figure things out. And
Yeah.
it turned out, I finished with my best year yet. And you never know how things happen.
Yeah.
You just always have to have that belief that you're doing the right things and, constantly push forward. Here
Yep.
we are, we met. And I just think that things happen for a reason. There's
Yeah.
no such thing as luck. It's just, when you're prepared,
Yeah.
opportunities present themselves.
Welcome back for another episode of the Agent Launch Podcast. My name is Nathan Conant, your host, and my honored guest today is Stephen Pliaconis. He is a commercial and residential realtor in Hermosa Beach, California, with Palm Realty Boutique. Is that right?
Yes, sir. How are you, Nate?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you for having me. I'm greatly appreciative. Thank you for finding me on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
great tool.
Isn't it?
Everybody should really be on it.
It's powerful. Why do you say that?
Well, one of my videos was actually done by somebody who came into my open house,
Yeah.
remembered me for years,
Yeah.
and actually offered to do a video for me. And
Okay.
that was the last one I did for COVID. It's
Wow.
just, it's a great way of connecting to people.
Yep.
And, not necessarily you have to ask for things, but just in seeing what people are up to in a career wise.
Absolutely. And it almost doesn't matter if you're national, international, or just local with your business, because you can kind of choose how you want to leverage that tool. Do you find that it's a good place for you to give on as well, give back on?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's really kind of set up for that. I've been
Yeah.
trying to figure out different ways,
Yeah.
and my main thing is always just encouraging
Yeah.
and showing
Yeah.
people what I'm up to.
Yep.
And if they're, wanted to do something or help alongside,
Right.
I obviously want to encourage that.
That's right. Well, I've got a way that we can together right now give back on the platform, and this will be true for any of them. Here it is. Restaurants right now need a little bonus love locally. So
Yeah.
where do you love to go for lunch and or dinner? Like whether it's taco shop, burgers, whatever you got. Let's give a shout out to at least 2 restaurants near you that you absolutely love, and we'll tag them in the post.
All right. I'm a foodie for sure. So,
Okay.
one of my favorite local spots is Good Stuff. One of my routines before COVID happened was every Tuesday morning, real early, I would wake up and go get a breakfast. And they're
Yeah.
just friendly staff, and everybody treats you really just, perfect. I'm just like, I like that experience.
Yeah.
Hun, what would you like? Coffee? Do you need some more?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I love.
Yeah.
And
Say their
I
name one
have
more time. Say their name one more time. We'll make sure we get them tagged.
Good Stuff.
Good
And
stuff.
they're all around the beach cities here.
Sweet.
And owner's a really nice guy. For dinner, that's tough. I've been craving these birria tacos. I've been trying to eat healthy,
Yeah.
but these things, I'm telling you, since I've had them, they're like the most craveable little morsels of goodness. And are you familiar with birria?
No.
Birria.
No.
So it's like this shredded beef consomme, and they make these tacos and they lay down cheese. So they do queso tacos. So
Oh.
they grill the cheese on the tortilla
Oh yes.
with the shredded beef, and then you dip the tacos in the consomme. And there's a really good dude that I know who has a little truck right next to LAX, and it's Birria Gomez, and he's just a nice guy. He's expanding. I mean, he's doing a good job, and
Yeah.
and I can't leave out another guy that I know,
Okay.
Mr.
Okay.
Fries Man in Gardena.
Yeah.
He's just, he's growing right now. He's I think at 20 plus franchises right now,
Yeah.
and he started this out of his backyard, and I've been a friend of his for a while, and he's set up right next to the school that I coach at too, and he's a gives back kind of guy,
Yeah.
and all the success is well earned.
Very cool. All right, we'll tag all 3 of them in this post when it goes live on social media. It's so good for us up here in the Northwest to finally have the sun starting to peek out in the spring. What are you seeing right now for you coming out of winter, coming out of 2020? What are you excited about? 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people. For a lot of realtors, it was also, a great year. They saw a lot of success. What are you excited about for 2021 in terms of real estate in the Hermosa Beach area?
Well, I think right now everybody has a lot of confidence, which is just exuding right now. I mean, people are really fired up about it.
Yeah.
And I think because of how low 2020 was, people are looking to make moves. And for me, to be down here, it's been a blessing. It's one of the, I can't complain. I mean, I live right next to the water. I mean, I can go down to the beach and go for runs.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle here is very laid back. People are very friendly.
Yeah.
I think that in itself showed a lot of people what's important to them. And that's why Hermosa Beach is a desired spot right now. And it's just blowing up.
Mm,
Um, for me, the whole outlook for 2021, I think it's going to be busier for sure. I think more homes are going to be hitting the market than they did in 2020 because
mm,
2020 it was down.
yeah.
But I think we're hitting that upward curve or whatever experts are predicting, the V, double V,
Yeah.
you know
Right.
J. They're coming up with all letters that don't even exist now. They're coming up with Greek
PQ.
omegas for
Yeah, Omega. Yeah,
everything.
that's right. That's right. Hey, speaking of that, something I learned about you by just following you online is this fascinating Greek philosophy. You come from a Greek family, right?
Oh yeah. My
And it's
mom
this.
ruined it though. She's Italian, so I like to say I look Italian, and but I have the Greek blood.
Perfect. Well, that sounds like a good a food combination at your house too. Tell me about philotimo. This is a fascinating philosophy. I heard you talk about it on a YouTube video, I think. What does philotimo mean, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, philotimo. It actually doesn't really have a definition. It's a word that encompasses many different things. Love is the main part, compassion and giving back. And for me, philotimo in the definition is giving back without expectation of return.
Mm,
And for me, growing up, that was one thing my dad always preached. He was always the guy that people could call, and if they needed something, he would be there no matter what. And if he didn't, he knew somebody. So, for me, especially in real estate, there's a lot of ways I can do that.
mm,
And, part of which is, community involvement. And then part of it is in my business.
mm,
And, my clients, knowing that it's not about me and it's always about them.
mm.
And for me to be able to deliver that kind of service or add it, as part of what I'm doing,
Yeah.
it just takes my business and separates it.
Yeah, yeah. Love is a killer app is an interesting way to think about that. But I think it's fascinating that you added it's not just love, but it's love that doesn't necessarily expect in return.
Yeah.
That's pretty unusual in business, wouldn't you agree?
Well, my favorite song growing up would be Unconditional Love by Tower Power. And it's just, my dad would play it on late night rides heading home, and we would all sing word by word. Love is a very powerful thing. And I think that's one thing it was missing in 2020, to be
Mm,
honest.
mm,
Um, I walk around um, and I just see the sadness on people's faces.
mm.
And it's for various reasons. It was a tough year.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that love is not there or you can find it. It doesn't have to be, it could be family, it could be coworkers, in just some random Joe on the street.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it. And I have a lot to give. I have a big heart. I'm a Leo, you know. I'm
Nice.
not trying to play matchmaker, I'm
Yeah.
single, but
Oh,
all
okay. You
all
hear,
the ladies
ladies?
out there,
You-
just so you know. But it's just, for me, it's the most important thing I do in life is to give love. Um, and compassion, I think, is the most underrated word.
Now, what would you say to someone who comes back to you and says, "Yeah, that sounds a little too mushy for business. I mean,
That's what
business
I'm
is about
saying.
numbers and negotiations and being hard and
Yeah.
crushing it and all this." That someone could come back and tell you you got it wrong.
Everybody tells me I have it wrong. Everybody. Trust me. But for me, this is what I do.
Yeah,
And no one's going to take that away from me.
yeah,
And eventually, I'm going to change a lot of people's thinking.
yeah,
And I just want to be an example. I don't want to be a guy that pushes things on the people. Way I believe in things is different than what a lot of people believe in.
mm,
And that's okay.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But we all share the fundamental things in life. And I think that's what we all have to come together. And, we saw 2020, there was a lot of movements because of these things. And
mm,
I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by so many different types of people and
yeah,
walks of life.
yeah,
And you just can't judge people at all. And
right.
you have to be able to reach across the aisle.
Yeah.
And what a better summary of 2020 than not doing any of those things.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
that's
hope in 2021 that's, we're leading towards that for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's dig just a tiny bit deeper, like make it even more practical for the listeners in the community that, Philotomo seems strange or they've never heard this philosophy before. Who in your past has best exemplified and demonstrated Philotomo to you?
Well, the biggest example growing up was one of my youth football coaches, Randy Simmons. And, I'm sure maybe his son might see this video and he'll say my dad is one of those guys for him. But I was fortunate to have a lot of good mentors on that team.
Yeah,
All the coaches were very similar minded. But this one in particular, if you ask anybody,
yeah,
just the way he went about his life, he was a loving father. He has, two kids. He was just one of those guys that was always involved in the community. But his main job was a LAPD SWAT officer.
mm,
And he was one of the, and he was African American. So, most of the time he's in his own, um, you know, like-minded or, African American minority communities, I should say, lower income.
mm,
And he's the kind of the same face. And he's having to go into these communities and rip, you know, people out of homes and just, blow down doors and rip open walls. And, in today's Blue Lives Matters and Black Lives Matters, he was the guy that was both.
yeah,
And he was just so ahead of his time because he's a guy that I would tell people about during, these movements, what a guy on both sides of the coin. He was a leader in his community in the church. He had a foundation where he took care of kids like by the thousands.
mm,
And tragically, he was taken from us early, when I
mm,
was in high school.
mm,
Um, he basically was pulling out one of his partners who was gunned down in a shootout. And he ended up taking a bullet himself in the one spot that he didn't have armor, you know? And what that told me was not only was he an angel because he was saving somebody's life and he was, putting his own life in danger. Um, but at the funeral is what changed my life because, my football team really looked up to him, Coach Randy. And, there was moments between me and him that really impacted my life. Um, one story is we were, I was hurt. I wasn't even practicing, and he just took me for a lap around the track because he saw how down and out I was because I wasn't
mm,
going to play in the game.
mm.
And I don't even remember that lap. It felt like it was the 30-second lap of my life, but it probably lasted 35 minutes. And it just changed my life because the way I felt when I was, when we hit the end of the lap. And I just remember feeling like I never had any pain. I felt good. That's the kind of guy he was. He could take the pain away from you.
Mm,
And that's why I really thought he was an angel because of those abilities.
yeah,
And at his funeral, there was the governor, there was the mayor, there was every single police officer, and there was 1,000 kids in the auditorium or the gym, or I mean, it was a big arena, and we thought we were the only kids that he would help, because he's a SWAT officer on call 24 hours a day. He runs this foundation and he helps thousands of kids who all felt like he was their coach Randy. And then he
yeah,
had our football team. And if you've ever coached, you know how intensive that is.
yeah,
So I don't even know how much he had time for his family, but his family is an amazing family. And it's just one of those things where, you know, I looked at that life and I'm like, he had it all.
yeah,
Tragically taken too soon.
yeah.
And just the way he affected people spoke a lot about him. And that's really where that Philotimo philosophy came from because he never asked for anything. I mean, he had a great life. I mean, great home, great family. Um, it wasn't about the money. It was always about what he was doing. I think to myself now in this time,
Yeah.
I want to give back to this world more than I ever take. And that's
Mm,
kind of like the motto I'm going into with um, going forward.
yeah. 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 Thanks for sharing that story. That's intense. And especially when it happens when you're a teenager and you see that'll happen, can really rock your world when someone that meaningful goes, especially to the community. That
He's got a park named after him.
really okay,
Yeah, I mean,
good.
he was that kind
People
of special
remembering him.
guy.
Yeah.
I hope they make a movie. They were trying to make a movie about him.
Oh
We wanted
yeah.
to get Denzel.
Oh, there we go. That would be awesome. I'd watch that just based on the preview you just gave me there.
Oh yeah,
Hey, speaking of football, I know you when school was in and whatnot, and when the kids were able to play, you were coaching and whatnot. Do
yeah.
you think? Let's try and mix those two worlds. What's your opinion on this? Do athletes make good realtors?
Oh, for sure.
Why?
There's a discipline to it.
Yeah.
There's a mental barrier that most people can't overcome. And it's a not a it's like a self-conscious kind of thing. There's just little demons in your head telling you, you can't do something. And when you're an athlete, especially in football, which I can relate to the most, um, you have to learn teamwork, and you have to be able to pick your teammates up when they're down, and then also yourself when you make a mistake, because it takes 11 guys, just like in soccer, all working together at once. Football, you only get one play at a time. So if one guy messes up, it could ruin it. So there's one of those things where you have to be able to be a good teammate before you could be a good leader. And then when you're a good leader, you look at Tom Brady, and he's a just everybody associates winning with him.
Mm,
And there's just that thing in your mind and your heart that you have to just trust in.
mm,
And it's just one of those things where I think football, and any athlete really, but football players, they have that more than any other sport, or because of the team aspect.
yeah. No, I like that. I would also assume too that someone would say you could probably draw a parallel between the grit that it takes to be an entrepreneur and to be okay with no's and to pick. That's one of the ways you have to be okay to get into this business is to not take no's personally, to be able to get back up when someone, a family member, even for example, or a friend goes with another realtor. Okay, what
Those
you
are
gonna
tough.
do? You gonna sit
Those are
down
tough.
and cry this one out? I know it hurts. I know it stings. No doubt about that. But I think that I mean that so does losing a game, right? Or getting
Oh
tackled
yeah.
hard. So what you gonna do next?
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. I mean, that's it. you know, this business has a lot of ups and downs. And when it was COVID just first hit, I thought it was going to be the death of me. I was down and out. I was sitting there with my mentor trying to figure things out. And
Yeah,
it turned out, I finished with my best year yet. And you never know how things happen.
yeah,
You just always have to have that belief that you're doing the right things, and, constantly push forward. Here
yep,
we are, we met. And I just think that things happen for a reason. There's
yeah,
no such thing as luck. It's just, when you're prepared,
yeah.
opportunities present themselves.
Good. How did you pivot and shift for 2020 to end up with? Because you probably didn't just sit in your basement and wait for opportunities to come your way.
Yeah, the main thing was getting myself right and showing people that this wasn't going to beat me. And then once I had my own personal self down, the business started coming at me. And I missed a couple opportunities I wish I hit, in commercial specifically, but
Mm,
my residential took off, and it
yeah,
started with just one sale, and then just kind of like rolled itself into each other.
yeah,
And I'm thankful for the business I did have.
yeah,
I'm not one to, desire more and wish I had, the numbers. I think 2020 taught us throw your goals right out the window, throw your planner right out the window, because now we're working from home. You have to find another way. You have to introduce yourself to people in different ways, get yourself out there. I'm not one to kind of put my face on different things. I like to stay in the shadows and do my thing.
yeah.
So it's kind of hard. It's a hard balance.
Right.
And there's just one of those things where if you don't have your personal self down, then your business is going to suffer too.
Yeah, yeah. I know one of the unique things about your business is commercial, residential. I think your family has a moving company as well. So somebody might call you guys the Costco or the Amazon of the real estate world for Hermosa Beach. How does that work if you're talking to someone who's considering you guys as their local agent? How do all those puzzle pieces fit together for you?
Well, industrial to me is the hottest thing going right now. And
Industrial.
a lot of commercial agents will tell you, you know, office is hurting, retail's hurting for obvious reasons. The Greeks own a lot of restaurants.
Mm,
They're hurting right now. They're getting picked on. Small business owners are not, getting the benefit of the doubt during this COVID. Who's getting the benefit of the doubt? Essential large corporations. There's nothing wrong in what Amazon's doing. I think a lot of us are thankful for some of the things that they're doing. But
Yeah.
Amazon is driving this market right now with warehouses.
Yeah.
And you know, anything with storage is a big deal. So, you know, the industrial market is in high demand. And, you know, my family, we just moved our company um, to a different location because it got too expensive.
Mm,
You know, it's just one of those things right now where because of the ports and, you know, in my region, in the South Bay, we
yeah.
have access to the airport, LAX,
Right.
rails, the
Right.
ports in Long Beach, San Pedro.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways goods are coming in here. And you know it's LA, so you know it's not going to Santa Monica. You know it's coming right here,
Yeah.
and so if you have land, man, that's what I tell people. I'm like, land you could buy for you know a few million. I mean, just taking for example, you could buy you know maybe an acre for 3.5 to 5 million. That's
Right.
a good deal,
Right.
and you know you can rent it out for a lot of money. You know,
Right.
like 50
Right.
cents you know, per square foot.
Okay.
So, you know, you're talking like 25K a month in rent for a landlord who has a plot of land who people are just parking trucks on, you know, containers.
Oh, containers.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
what an opportunity, you know? And then where would you take that $5 million? You take it to Hermosa Beach and buy a nice little mansion down here,
Mm.
nice little beach mansion. But then you can't rent that out for the same price. You know,
Right.
you maybe you get 10 to 12. So that's kind of like my thinking. That's why I like residential and commercial because there's, you know, there's different ways to make, you know, money.
Yeah.
And, you know, multifamily is huge down here just because everybody, you know, the land values go up so high and then you
Yeah.
got cash flow.
Well, yeah, I was going to
What a
say,
beauty.
aren't they much more likely to cash flow something that's got 4, 5, 10, 20 doors than a single home?
Oh, yeah. It's just right now with the rental laws, you know, things are just up in the air and you don't want to
That's
get
right.
caught with a property that, you know, somebody is not moving out and you got people not paying rent.
Yep. That's right.
So
That's right.
that's kind of like the tricky part. There's more lawyers in California than anything. So
Yeah.
these are the dances that we have to, you know, do in the commercial real estate world. But in
Yeah.
residential, it's just beautiful because you know proximity, land, location, schools. You know, these are the things that people want,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
and
Hey,
it's
can
fun
we?
looking at nice houses.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And your video content, by the way, that you put out is excellent. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you.
Your opinion on this. Speak to the young agent or the new agent for a minute. Has there been something in your opening 3 years of your career that's been really meaningful in terms of training, whether that's a book, a course, a class? What have you taken the most from that you recommend to others?
I can tell you what I don't recommend.
Please.
My thing is this: keep your expectations at a reasonable level.
Okay.
There's a lot of realtors in my area, and they're only growing by the minute. And people are, you know, there's not a lot of homes for sale,
Right.
and people are going with the people they know, like, and trust, and the one percenters take up the rest. So just be careful about how you're getting into the business. I think is the most thing. Like I jumped in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and in the 3 years I've been here, Zillow, Compass, and other, you know, tech-forward companies, Keller Williams, they've changed the game.
Yeah.
I started off in Keller Williams. No one had a website. No one had an app. And Michael Lewis Marketing Suite was, you know, the thing. And all of a sudden now there's just so much money being poured into this industry that if you don't have a website, if you don't have an app, and you're not out there on social media videos, it's like you're a ghost. So the younger agents are understanding of this and are good at those things, but don't have the expectation that you're going to come in and just be like the guy.
Right.
It takes a lot of work. You got to hit the phones, and you have to, you know, go out there and meet people. And then COVID, you can't really go meet people. So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Well,
know, you
because
got to really know your stuff going into it.
I'm glad you said that. That's a very balanced and fair and wise of you, I'm sure, because somebody could think, oh, I'm good at Instagram, so I could be a realtor. Well,
Selling
hello.
sunset. Come on. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
it makes it look so desirable.
Right. So I want to wrap up here talking about the phone because phone skills are massive, don't you think, in this industry? If you don't have phone skills, how are you going to create opportunity for yourself? So talk to me about what you do on the phone. Let's get really tactical and practical here. Do you follow scripts? Are you using specific tools? I mean, how are you leveraging the phone? Leverage is one of Keller Williams' strong, key pillars, right, of the business. So how are you leveraging the phone, Stephen?
Well, right now it's for sale by owners and expireds. I try and do for sale by owners because it's an easier conversation.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually 90% of for sale by owners sell with an agent in some manner, buyer's agent, listing agent, somewhere. So expireds right now, a little bit of a heartbreak because of the COVID. And, it's a very touchy subject.
Yeah.
So you really have to diffuse the situation either
Mm,
way. Like if you're talking with a for sale by owner, you have to really open up to that person and let them know you're there to help them.
mm,
And in the expired, it's the same way, but in a different approach.
mm,
For me, anytime I'm jumping on the phone, I want them to know, one, it's because I'm there to help them,
mhm.
and I try and approach that in the first couple lines. You know, you want to obviously get a good icebreaker in there, make them laugh. You know, it's hard out there because there's a million people calling them,
Sure.
and they're not going to remember you, and they're not going to remember you after the third try.
Right.
And I've broken the door open with some good for sale by owners, but it just hasn't panned out in 2020. I'm
Yeah.
hoping 2021 it changes.
Yeah.
Um, but you just got to keep plugging away because you never know if that person you talk to, you might run into somebody that similar situation, and
Yeah.
then you have that experience under your belt,
Yep.
dealing with objections, or maybe that person might know somebody looking to buy something that fits that criteria, and then you open the door with the seller. You just want to find different ways in,
Yeah.
not in a like, oh, I have a buyer, we're looking for this, and your home fits this, and you don't really have anybody, and you got to go meet this person. Then it's a waste of everybody's time. I think
Yeah.
in COVID, we learned, don't waste people's time. Have
Right.
a general reason and find a general reason. There's a million ways you can do that,
Right.
and that's why
Right.
scripts are
Right. Right.
important because you know, one, you don't want to go off script and get into this wild conversation of lies and just making up things as you go. You want to have a good reason why you're leading them from A to Z.
That's right. That's right. Well, and I've seen at least two, having physical stuff to bring to somebody, even during COVID. I know it's a little bit tricky, but whether that's a listing packet and marketing plan, beautifully wrapped, ready to go, or a
Yeah.
first time home buyer kit, right? Like literally having those physical reasons to get together, even if you have to socially
Yeah.
distance or be on the porch or whatnot. How do you manage that? You got something?
I've yeah. So I put together a beautiful box. I'm a
Yeah.
presentation guy.
Ah.
And so here's one of my things that I include. It's just a nice booklet that I made,
Yep.
and it kind of explains who I am,
Yep.
teacher and coach. I used to have an app, but you know, just a few little bullet points about my business.
Yeah.
And amongst that, I include other different marketing materials. My brokerage, we have international marketing. Uh, I really think that my brokerage is, for being a boutique, it's got everything that the big guys have and more in different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Nice.
Um, so, I think it's important for new agents to find a place that has those kind of tools.
Yeah.
And for me, I take it to the next level. I'm a big design guy. My
Uh,
website I think is really nice. You know, it could be better, but anything could be better.
yeah.
I made
Yeah.
them,
That's what
myself when I,
designers always think. That's what designers and creative people always think
yeah,
is there's always something, there's
just
always the
have
next step.
something. That's the
That's
main
right.
thing. Just have something.
Well, and if do you advise realtors eventually to get I mean, do you generate leads on your website? Is that where some of your leads come from that end up becoming clients and friends?
It's crazy. Somebody found me searching through my website on a listing. I don't know how they got my SEO. Like they searched a specific address and they found my SEO
Right.
and messaged me on my little chat bubble.
Right.
You know, that was the best lead I've ever gotten for my website.
Right.
Just and they were thinking about buying and selling.
Yeah.
I'm still staying in touch because I have KV Core, which is
Yep.
also
Keller Williams. Yeah.
not Keller Williams,
CRM
but it's
or
EXP.
that's it.
EXP owns them.
That's
And
right.
so a lot of agents have this tool and they have, great follow-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
So It's you get what you get in, what you put in. You get out what you put in. So
Right. Right.
if you spend money driving people to the site, you'll get some fruits out of it.
Yep. Yep. And I'm a big believer in this duality of do the best you can with the tech you've got and the knowledge you've got, or outsource it, find team, whether that is a ISA provider or somebody to drive leads or traffic. Like I don't change my own oil anymore, not because I don't know how, but because somebody else can do it 10 times faster than me while I do the stuff that I'm good at. And that's my point when I speak to agents. It's like, hey, find somebody that's good at it and partner up. I do want to
Leverage.
say though too that besides the tech stuff, you and I are both brothers. We have three. We each of
One
us
of four boys.
one of four boys in our family, exactly. And I think that's being part of big families also has a big benefit to us on the old school, just relational side. And I think that's from what I see of you and know of you, that's one of your strong suits. Is you are a people person.
And it's the most underrated aspect of our business. For me, I treat people like my family, and my brothers. I have amazing brothers. I really do. I'm fortunate enough to have a good family,
Yeah.
and I have nieces and nephews um, that just kind of I look at them and I see a beautiful husband and wife, and they're raising these great kids.
Yeah.
None of them are gonna grow up um, you know being like us. We were pretty crazy. They're so well behaved, and they're smart, and they're disciplined, and that just it shows you how my parents raised us. Even though we used to throw each other through walls and just do all sorts of crazy stuff. We were the wild boys.
That's right.
But I don't know how they did it, but it just when you're treating clients like family,
Yeah.
and you show them how much you care for them, and it's about them and not you. That's the
Yeah.
main thing.
It's beautiful. Speaking of that, let's wrap up with this. If somebody's in your area, they're near Hermosa Beach, or they're thinking about moving there, or they're thinking about moving out, right? How can they get in contact with you? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, the best way to reach out to me is go to my website, and you'll find all my contact there. It's pliaconisrealty.com. It's my last name, realty.com. I've
Awesome.
also got Instagram, Facebook, so you can search me up, and just reach out. And even if it's a colleague or somebody who's just casually watching this video and wanted to get some advice and pass them from me to you, same thing. Just I'm here to help people in any way possible. I'm very good at connecting people.
Awesome.
That's what I pride myself on.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. Awesome. Pliaconisrealty.com. If you're listening in, we will post it into the social media and below this video when this goes live. Stephen, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing your story. And I don't know, are you actually a surfer? That looks like a surfboard behind you.
No, see, that's the one thing I wish I learned during COVID. I begged my neighbor to take me out. Sometimes the waves get too crazy. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a chicken when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I'm not the best swimmer, in the world. But it's just one of those. We're a volleyball surf town. I just love the vibe down here. It's
Yeah.
a super laid back town, small town
Beautiful.
feel.
Beautiful. Well, I'll make sure and ping you next time I'm down there, and we'll go get some coffee or some of those tasty
Yes, sir.
cheese fried tacos. That sounds amazing.
Cheese fried tacos, cheese fries, cheese omelets. I got all three spots.
As long as it's got cheese, we're good to go.
Oh,
Hey, Stephen, thank you for your time.
hey, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.